All right, so you surviving the apocalypse, Jake.
So far, yes. So far,
All
it's not
right.
too bad. For me,
Yeah.
personally. I know it's bad in the
I,
world in general.
I thought about coming to this podcast with a bunch of like quarantine themed horror movies, but honestly, like I don't like that genre. Yeah,
No.
Tasha doesn't either. We've tried like pretty much every famous quarantine movie, even the one that people liked came out when I was in high school, The Crazies or whatever. That was another quarantine. I think it was a quarantine type of movie. Maybe it wasn't. I thought it was a virus that caused people to go like rabbit, like rabies or something. Anyways,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So we got four beautiful movies for you quarantined people today. We got Misery. We have.
You need a list.
I need a list.
We have Christine,
Christine, yeah. Misery, Christine, come on.
Cry Wolf,
Cry Wolf.
and People Under the Stairs.
Yay!
God.
Misery, Quarantine, Cry Wolf, People Under the Stairs. So, I would like to start with Cry Wolf, if you don't mind, because I am so insanely curious to hear your thoughts on it that I just can't wait the rest of the podcast. If that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
for
guess.
sure.
All right. I'll do the plot summary super quick for you guys. So get used to me talking for the next 30 seconds or so. So Cry Wolf is a story about a group of friends who go to this, sneak out, go to this church every night, and they play this game called like Cry Wolf or the Wolf or whatever they call it. And then the girl puts like a cross on somebody's chest. They all put some cash in, and whoever wins the game takes home all the cash. So that theme goes into the theme of the real movie, which is they invent a killer to scare everyone around Halloween, but then the killer turns out to be real, and it's kind of a whodunit type of story where you're trying to unfold the story, and it ends up being that the girl who is the sort of love interest of the story was kind of pulling the strings and made everything happen in the story because she wanted the guy to kill the protagonist to kill her teacher because she was cheating. I don't know if she wanted that. I think she did, but yeah, it's very, in my opinion, a good plot. But that's going into the review. So that that was a very generic description of what's happening. But really, they're all in on it until the end. Like there's like two levels of the scheme. The whole group is in on like level one where they think that they're tricking him, and she's like playing chess and they're playing checkers, and
Right.
she's like, so it's like a fake within a fake, So she's faking the group that is faking the protagonist out, in a sense. So yeah.
Doesn't she literally say, I'm playing chess and you're playing checkers at one point?
Yes, that shit is
Yes.
funny. The one-liners in this movie are so funny. I love it.
Yeah, like when the
And I just spent a lot of time talking, so I'll let you go. But
for one-liners, the first note I wrote down was when he first meets the roommate and he shakes his hand and just goes, I just beat off. And then it just cuts to the next scene. Like, that was really funny.
yeah. Yeah, you could kind of tell that this movie was a film of passion because, like, this director, he won a short film competition, and then he won $1 million of a grant to make a movie, and this is the movie he chose to make to try to break into, making movies, and he's still doing stuff, so it worked, but.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell it was somebody's passion project. You could tell like he tried really hard on it. I kind of view it as a early 2000, almost like a period piece. Like you see so many things, like you're like, AOL Messenger and all this stuff.
Like
it's
that
very
flip
a
phone
bunch of a
thing.
period.
Like the sideways
Yeah.
phone where you... Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, the flip phone, and then he's sitting in class and he's like got the notifications like.
Yeah,
It's like mute your notifications, Einstein.
And those were like... Obviously it was a prep school, but they were like real nice iMac, like gigantic things in like 2006 or whenever this came out.
I think it was 6.
Yeah, 2005, 2000. I think it's 2005, but I might be wrong.
I will look this up.
It was that...
But
I
anyways,
knew it was that
yeah.
era, like the early 2000s era, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
they're
like-
nice computers, but they're all rich, so it makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's not a knock. It was just
No.
like, I was like, whoa.
They are not all rich. She is not.
She's got a scholarship though. It doesn't count.
Oh yeah. And there was that point where they revealed that the janitor that was kind of like creepily watching them was her dad. Like that just seems like a weird payoff that nobody really asked for.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was very strange.
All right, so 5.
2005. I was right again.
But I thought the setting and the characters and a lot of stuff felt very like early 2000s, but the overall plot and tone of it felt very much like urban legend or Scream. It felt like one of those like late 90s movies, which I liked a lot. I enjoyed.
Yeah, agreed.
Speaking of like phones and stuff, I made a mental note. It's like it bothered me at the very beginning where the first girl was getting killed that she had her cell phone still on.
Oh yeah, on like full ringer
Full
high
volume. Yes.
Oh yeah, she got killed because she didn't silence her phone. She probably doesn't silence her phone in movies, so I don't feel bad. Yeah. Another note I had was I love the group chemistry. Like all these actors and the way that they rag on each other and stuff, like to me is really realistic. I liked that part of it a lot.
I liked it to a degree. To me, it felt a little over the top, like just like the speed of like their quips and just it seemed a little over the top for me. But I liked just not the whole time, just every once in a while.
And with this being a high school, like I was surprised they let them dress as slutty as possible for like the Halloween dance.
Yeah, like that Halloween dance was wild.
Yeah, it was.
And
Yeah.
it was, I guess it was a plot device, but I was like, why is there literally no faculty at this school on the weekend? Like literally not a living soul at this school. Not even the security will do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just mopping, by himself. The floor is already spotlessly clean.
Right.
and the guy comes in to attack him or whatever.
Oh, but let's talk about Owen, the main character. I hated him and wanted him dead the entire movie.
Yeah.
Did anyone else like? He just seemed like such an arrogant asshole the entire time. Like I was not rooting for him at all.
Yeah, I could see that.
I can see that. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the best personality, but I liked that he tended to be good at solving like the puzzles, and he had some good one-liners about like how people interact with each other and just random things like that. But one thing that the actor wasn't able to sell to me was I was having a lot of trouble buying that he's like a troublemaker, because the story was that he's a troublemaker, but really in the story he was almost completely innocent. The only thing he did was do the email thing, which obviously isn't the worst or best thing to be doing, but
yeah, and I didn't get why when he was like, "Oh, don't send it through your personal email." He was like, "I'm gonna do it," and I was like, "Why?" I didn't get that plot. Other than that's how the killer finds out who sent it. But I mean, that's more of a nitpick.
yeah. And it's like all those kids saw this guy with a knife, and they were all very afraid of the knife suddenly like that. And then he was able to persuade the teacher not to turn him in for the knife. But what about all the other kids? So he just came back to class the next day, and they're all like, "This is fine."
Yeah, like the next scene was like him in the lunchroom just eating his food by himself at the table. It's like, no, people would be like protesting. People would go to the dean's office themselves and be like, "This kid is fucking crazy."
Yeah, because it's so juicy. Like, people would be talking to each other, word would spread around. There's no way that the dean would not find out that he had that knife in that class.
Right.
There's no way. I can't believe it.
No, it wouldn't. They would definitely find out.
But
I thought that everyone kind of overreacted to it, though. Because I could imagine if it was like an AK or something. I mean, yeah, it's a scary looking knife, but like, I don't know.
But yeah, it fell out of his bag, and he's just like, "Oh shit, let me put that away." He wasn't like brandishing at everyone and saying, "I'm gonna fucking slit you."
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Everybody was like, "Ah!"
a little side story. I accidentally brought a knife to school when I was a kid. It was a butter knife, but like I was playing Small Soldiers, that great film, um,
Yes.
where they they kill the people with the knives and whatever. So I had like a bunch of butter knives and my Small Soldiers in my backpack, and I just went off to school. And the whole day, I knew it was there, and I didn't like open my bag or say anything. I just sat there, waited to be caught the entire day, and I wasn't. So.
There you go. Concealed a weapon in kindergarten. Dude, I did that one time with like a toy gun. I took it to school one day, and I got in trouble for it though, because I realized I had accidentally put it in there, and I was a little idiot, and I told my friend about it, and my friend ratted me out, and it wasn't my friend anymore after that.
Yeah, I mean, rule number one about bringing a weapon to school is don't brag about it.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's just a toy though. How are you gonna get somebody in trouble for a toy gun?
Well, I guess it's the same reaction to the knife in the movie. It's like,
That's not a toy knife.
oh yeah, I guess that
dude,
was a real knife.
The girl that was chasing him outside of the dance when the police were coming continued to attack him for far too long.
Right.
If she was like joking and all that, and she'd like raise her hand, it was like, it's fake, it's just a joke or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just like, if you rewatch that scene, she doesn't act like she would if it was faking, because you could see the police officer coming from the distance and stuff.
Yeah, she didn't stop until they pulled out their guns and was getting ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't get why they didn't stop the prank after that. Like, oh, this girl literally almost got shot and killed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and they follow through.
But yeah, like that's just like phase 2. There's like the next thing is the final act that is so elaborate, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta confess, when I first saw this movie, I didn't fully understand the intricacies of the whole plot. I just thought it was too advanced for me back then.
Did you watch it when it first came out?
Not when it first came out, but like closer to when we probably watched it in like 2010 or 2011, so like
Okay.
10 years ago.
But
Something like that.
what did you guys think of the first twist? Like the twist where it's like, oh, the professor did it.
I
could
didn't
see
notice.
it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice that twist this time because I already knew she did it. But yeah, I remember
Well,
that from the first time I watched.
I guess it's not that the professor did it. It was the twist was that the professor killed the girl in the beginning, but he wasn't a serial killer. Like I liked that it was kind of a twist of a twist where it's like, yes, the professor is a killer, but he's not the killer. There is no killer. I really liked that twist. I thought that was really creative and something I've never seen done in a movie where it's like there really wasn't a killer. And I was totally happy with that ending. I was satisfied.
Yeah.
But then when they were like, the girl was playing chess the whole time, I was like, come on now, that's a little... I didn't really like the second twist, personally.
There was like a twist within a twist within a twist. Like, so many twists.
Like
I liked it.
They made a pretzel, but then with that last twist, they just made a ball of dough, and it just kind of fell apart.
No, I hate to hear that because I think like upon a rewatch, I like the movie better knowing that she was doing that the whole time. Because if you get to rewatch it and you see her plotting it, you can see all the subtleties. You can see like her having a plan for exactly what she's going to say when she cornered him in the library, and you know how she emotionally manipulated him there, and was like, I didn't want to talk about my parents, that's why I lied about being out of town, and just like you watch her, she's this conniving like person.
Yeah, and I've only watched it once, but I feel like if I did watch it again, I would pick up on all that stuff, and it is kind of like the movie leads you to believe it's the girl from the beginning, like she's the first suspect, and then they just kind of, they don't like disprove her necessarily, they just kind of put her in the background and make you focus on other people, but it's like obviously it's her because it's the most obvious, like the most obvious person is usually the one who does it.
Yeah. Yep. And so yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about that one. I'm really, like when we first started this podcast, this was one of the movies I was excited to recommend and hear your thoughts about. So I'll review it first since it's my recommendation. But as we go around, I'm excited to hear your rating and all that. Did you guys have anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay, just wanted to make sure before I took it over for a second. So, this movie is better than your average mystery movie, in my opinion. I would sit down and watch it with a person who really likes to try to figure out movies and challenge them to try to figure out everything that's going on, because I don't think that anyone really could figure everything out. But maybe they could. That being said, the first time I watched this movie, I would have probably given it like an 8 out of 10. Upon watching so many great films for this podcast, I think my bar has just changed, and I think I'm going to give it a 6. It's either it leans towards a 7. It's closer to a 7 for me than a 5, but I think for me a 6, better than average, but not excellent. A plus material. I think that's where I'm gonna put it.
Okay. All right. I am going to give it a 5 out of 10 because I feel like the same way as I did with Urban Legend. Like once you rewatch it, you pick up a little bit more, but for rewatchability for me, it just kind of bores because I already know who did it, so it kind of takes the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a 6 as well. I think it's a slightly above average movie just because of the first twist, where the twist is there is no killer. I thought that was really creative and inventive, but outside of that, it's really just a standard like 90s teen whodunit killer movie. Other than that twist, there's nothing really special about this movie, and that's why I might have given it a 7 if not for that second twist that kind of undid the good twist. But so it's like it's a good movie, but yeah, like Tasha said, for the rewatchability, it's pretty low for me. Just since
Oh, you don't think you'll ever rewatch this?
I won't say never. Like I didn't hate this movie, but it's not gonna. Maybe the next quarantine I'll rewatch it. It's not gonna be something I watch.
Next pandemic.
I watch right away.
Okay. Well, cool. Universal owns this, so it'd be cool if this suddenly got like internet viral for some odd reason and became like a cult movie.
Yeah.
And then they put it in Horror Nights. This would be a cool one.
It would be a cool slasher, like, because it would probably be just the killer guy jumping out and then audio cues from the movie. Like, the roommate would just come around the corner. I just beat off. Every 6 seconds all night.
Yeah. I think it would make a better scare zone than a Full House,
Yeah.
Because it'd be so low budget.
Yeah.
You could just do the ski mask and the camo, and you're good. Like, that would be
and a knife.
so cheap.
Yeah, it would probably be a lot like Happy Death Day, I feel like, if they did it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it would work a lot like that.
Honestly, they could just do like they did with Happy Death. They have a couple different movies within a house.
Yeah, they could use a lot of the same props from the set and
Yeah.
just change it a little bit.
Okay.
But anyways,
Which one y'all want to do now?
You want to do one of yours, Tasha?
Yeah.
Sure, which one y'all want to do? Christine or Misery?
It's your movies. You can decide.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and do Misery then.
Okay.
So basically, there's this author. He goes up on the mountain to write books, and he is on his way back to the city when his car spins out of control because the mountain's covered in ice, and he crashes. So there's this lady named Annie Wilkes. She gets him out of the car, takes him back to her house, and nurses him back to health. Which he doesn't know until he wakes up that she's apparently his #1 fan of the Misery collection. And, she's so thrilled that he's there and she's taking care of him. And she reads his new book and she's, pissed off. She's like, why would you kill her off? You've got to rewrite this. And he keeps rewriting it until she finally likes the manuscript he has written. And he tries to keep getting her out of the house so he can figure out a way to get out, and he finds her scrapbook, and finds out that she was this nurse and she's killed several people and basically still trying to get out, and nobody knows where he's at until later on, where the sheriff finds his car and then puts two and two together that he's at her house. So basically, long story short, they have a battle out. He kills her. He escapes. Then, he finishes up his books, start a new one, just for the end to find out there's another girl who says that she's his number one fan.
Cool. That was good.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good summary. Better than my summary.
Well, can we just say, to start off, when he's coming off that mountain, that is not a four-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
He should be spinning way more coming down until the end. I mean, there is no way he can make it off that mountain.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying. I guess I chalked it up to he's a rich guy from New York. He's kind of an arrogant asshole, but he's like going like 60 down this icy road in the middle of a snowstorm in this tiny little car. I'm like, of course you're gonna wreck, dude.
Yeah. Like, I was so surprised. It's like, man, I was like, there is no way you've made it almost down this mountain without spinning. No way in this Mustang. Or just no way.
Yeah.
But still, it was a good like cut where it's just like there's the happy music playing over the opening credits, and then it just like cuts to him flipping off the road, and then it was like, oh shit's getting real now. Like, I thought that was a good intro to the movie. I thought.
Exactly. Let's see. I thought it was pretty nasty that she was like shaking the pee bottle. Like, I was afraid it was going to just like get everywhere, and it was just nasty.
Yeah, like that, and just like when the pig first comes in, and just Paul's reaction looking at it. Like, there was some pretty good comedy bits in this movie.
Yeah, like where she was doing like the pig face. Was like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
And I thought that, like, it was good, subtle stuff like that just, you're like, oh, she is crazy. She is completely unhinged, and you have no clue what she's gonna do. Like, they planted little seeds like that throughout the first act, or two acts, really. Like, I thought it was a great lead up to the ultimate, like, leg breaking.
it's like the part.
The leg breaking scene is the hardest thing to watch ever.
Well, like the part she tells him to burn the manuscript,
Yes.
and she's like over here shaking lighter fluid on him. You don't know if she's going to set him on fire or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's crazy, and she can go from not crazy to crazy in a snap too. Like, that's what makes her so terrifyingly unpredictable.
Yeah.
She's,
Yeah, I mean.
she got an Oscar for that performance. Did you know that?
Well, I could believe it because her performance was very spot on.
It's the only Stephen King movie that's gotten an Oscar. Shawshank Redemption, nope, no Oscar. This one, Oscar. It's crazy.
Sorry, my internet cut out for a second. You were saying what about the Oscar?
Oh, I said, this is the only Stephen King movie that's gotten an Oscar. Shawshank Redemption, no Oscar. This movie, Oscar.
Yeah, and I was doing the research before this, and it was the first female, best female actress or whatever for a horror movie to be awarded, like for a horror movie to win that award. So that's
amazing.
That was pretty cool.
No, I didn't know that they invented another category.
No, it was just like she got like best female actress or whatever, but that was the first time a character from a horror movie had won.
Yeah, the Academy hates horror movies. Like, they never vote on those and nominate those. There's still this ancient perception that they are some kind of inferior art form just because they're a horror movie. But half of the ones that are artsy are like not even that scary, like The Lighthouse or those Midsommar, like the ones that critics tend to like because whatever.
But then all the movies that win, this is why I hate the Oscars and I never watch them. It's like you've never heard of any of the movies that win, and like the movies that win you never hear about again. Nobody's ever 10 years from now oh, remember that movie that won the Oscar for Best Picture? That was a great movie. It's all gimmicky bullshit or overly. Anyway, sorry, this isn't about the Oscars.
Oh no, it's okay. But yeah, it kind of made me mad that she made him burn the book. It's like, man, he worked so hard on it just because you don't like it.
Yeah,
It's like,
that really like hurt my soul. I mean, I'm not a writer, but just like as somebody that does something creative for a living, like
Yeah.
just something
Yeah.
that you worked that
Destroyed.
long on, just yeah, like
Yeah.
that just hurt me.
a year's work or whatever. Or Stephen King's case, like 30 seconds
Right.
worth of
Oh,
work.
yeah.
Yeah, that was back when he was knocking out like a novel every 6 months, like a 2,000-page novel every 6 months.
That's awesome, though. that he can
But
do
and
that.
then like Paul burned the second book, like the fake misery
Yeah,
book too.
Yeah, the one that she loved is the one that I think she. No, the one that he burned first, I think, had her in it, and then she made him change it again, then he burned the second copy. It's just so many copies that they burned, and the first time he clobbered her in the head with that typewriter, I feel like that should have done some serious damage than what it did. She just fell over and then got back up.
Yeah, but
Just,
I did think the effects and like of that fight were very realistic.
Oh yeah.
Like her makeup when she was kind of like half like 90% dead and she was like bleeding from the eyes and stuff. I was like, that's pretty. Like the gore was pretty effective for how little of it there was for me.
Yeah, no.
yep.
I plan on reading the book eventually. I haven't read it.
Yeah, that was actually the first Stephen King book I read. I don't know why. And
Scoo, maybe?
no, like I was bored one summer and I randomly, I think it was my mom's book that I just picked up, and of all the Stephen King books, that's the one I decided to read for some reason.
Turbo nerd reads in the summertime. I like it.
But I remember liking it, but just thinking like, God, this is dragging on. Like, which you could say about the movie to an extent too, that it's a very slow
Yeah.
burn movie since it's just two people in one room, pretty much.
Yeah,
True.
exactly. I
Very
mean, there's probably there could be some of it that they cut, like
Yeah, but I think in this case, for the movie, it works as a slow burn just because it like they give you those like bits and pieces to show you how crazy Annie is, making it like when she
Yeah.
finally breaks his legs, making it that much more terrifying. That's why I think it works so well as a movie.
oh yeah.
Yep.
You have anything?
Only that the performances in the movie I think are really good. Practical effects are good. Screenplay is good. One of the few live action adaptations of Stephen King's books that he likes. He doesn't like The Shining. You know, there's several ones he doesn't like. He likes this one, which is good.
Which, yeah, I think it's good. It's one of as far for me as far as the older Stephen King adaptations. It's probably the second best behind The Shining.
Yep.
I think it's. I liked it way more this time. I hadn't watched it in several years, but I really liked it a lot more this time.
I can't stop thinking about the water boy when I see her on screen.
Yeah.
She's the devil.
Yeah. Except for your mama.
Do you have anything else, Jake, on your end, or? Because I've covered all my notes.
Yeah, same.
I thought it had great suspense when the first time Paul escaped from the bedroom and he was just looking around and he was trying to like rush back in before Annie walked in. I was on the edge of my seat for that one.
Yeah, I was like, hurry up, get back.
So-
She's coming.
I think the movie did a lot of stuff well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's it. That's all.
Okay. Are you good, Mike?
Yeah, and you can review it first since it was your movie.
So I would say this was in my top 5 Stephen King movies. It's not my favorite, but I think I'm going to give it an 7. Because I enjoyed the suspense. I like Kathy Bates a lot, and plus I like the Family Guy episode. That's what made me watch it for the very first time.
I haven't seen
Yeah, like
that
the
one.
Family Guy episode.
Oh my gosh, you
Oh, it's a
have
good
to.
one. It's a
You'll
good
have to
episode.
watch it because it's a lot of Stephen King movies. You'll have to watch
Yeah, it's a
it.
collage of a bunch of Stephen King.
So it,
It's like Stand by Me, Misery, and I think one more.
And it's funny. It's one of the funniest episodes too.
is Brian the Paul Sheldon character?
No, no,
Okay.
I don't think.
I think it's Stewie.
No, Stewie is Annie Wilkes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Stewie's
Well,
Annie.
duh,
Yeah.
obviously.
It might be Brian. I don't know. I haven't seen that episode in so long.
Yeah, that.
But my rating is the 7. So.
Yeah, if you remember the "Where's My Money" episode, it's kind of like that. You know,
Oh,
where
okay.
he's just kicking the crap out of him.
So whoever wants to go next.
I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna give it the same rating as Tasha, 7 out of 10. I like the suspense of this movie. I like the performances. I like how self-contained it is. You know, honestly, like if somebody was talented enough and didn't have a lot of money, like most people could probably make this movie. If they had maybe not the car scene, but the core of what this movie is very replicatable. And I love movies like that. Like, you know, as a hobbyist person myself, I like seeing like stuff that I'm like, if I was good, I could have done that, but I can't. So
Yeah, and it's like less is more in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Like in this movie,
no CGI. You know?
yeah, and just what it did with two people in a room, and just the well, I guess this is my review now. So like
There you go.
everyone else said, the performances were great. I thought just the slow build of or the slow reveal of how crazy and unpredictable Annie actually is was great, and really made the ending that much more like suspenseful and gruesome when she breaks his legs, and then ultimately when he kills her, it's very triumphant because you've been watching him suffer for like 2 hours. So I think, I'm not usually a fan of slow burn movies. I just think this one was very effective. And I mean, there were times in this movie where I was checking the runtime of like, all right, how much is left? But overall, like that was maybe once or twice. Just overall,
That's why it's a 7, I think, for me.
This movie I just think is so effective. Yes, there probably could have been a few scenes cut, but it would have shaved maybe 10, 15 minutes off the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we can all agree that the points that are docked that prevent it from being a 9 or a 10 is the pacing, I think, for me.
But you know, this movie proves right here you don't need a full cast when you can just operate just 2 people.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. It's a
All right.
very simple story.
All right, Jake, you want to do yours?
Sure. My pick was The People Under the Stairs, which was a Wes Craven movie from '91, I believe. It's
Yes.
a movie I had heard the name of because from Halloween Horror Nights, because it was the first IP haunted house they ever did. I had never watched it, and I like Wes Craven, so I wanted to check it out. So the plot summary, basically there's this kid who's named Poindexter for some weird reason, but
Yeah.
everyone calls him Fool. I guess because he's a little kid and he doesn't really know any better and he's kind of dumb. So basically, his family is poor and they're about to be kicked out of their apartment by their evil landlords because they're behind on the rent. And
Triple rent.
they're 3 days late, so now they have to pay triple or they get kicked out, which is ridiculous. Who would sign that lease? But basically, the family's poor because it's a single mother who's dying of cancer, so she can't work. So the Fool, basically, he teams up with, I guess, their neighbor or family friend who's like a criminal, and they're gonna basically rob the landlords because there's rumor that they have a bunch of gold coins in the basement, so they're gonna take that to pay off the rent and whatever. So they go to try to break into this house. They realize like everything's locked up, all the windows are locked, the doors are locked. But they finally get in and realize that these people are literally insane, and they're like the house is all decrepit, and then basically everyone but the little kid dies, and he finds all of these like people that live under the stairs in the basement, and they're like demons. But then he finds this other girl, Alice, and he finds out that the landlord couple, they're a brother and sister who are like having sex with each other, which is weird, and they're really into like leather and shooting people and guns. But they basically abduct babies, and if they don't like the baby, they just chain them up in the basement for the rest of their lives. And basically, Fool escapes, and then goes back and frees Alice and kills everybody in the end, and then frees the people under the stairs. The end.
Good job.
Whew.
That was a long one.
That was very comprehensive.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the rent because that was in my notes. It's like I've never heard of somebody charging triple rent if you're late.
Yeah, by 3 days.
Probably illegal.
Yeah.
That's probably illegal, honestly.
But I mean, I think it was. I feel like
Maybe not back then.
the movie was trying to do a social commentary on just the separation between the rich and the poor, and just these rich people are just literally insane and they kill people and nobody questions them, but this black family is just trying to get by, and they can't because of the rich white man or whatever. But I don't know. I think like it was trying to say something with the social commentary, but it didn't feel like it had anything real to say in that regard.
Agreed. That's literally part of my notes, so if I could. The thing is with me is this reminded me of a big problem growing up that I saw, and that is whenever you see wealth or success in fiction, it's always depicted as a bad thing. It's always the people just not like working hard and climbing ladders and like doing things like with integrity and just doing well for themselves and not being lazy. No, it's always like obsession with money. Like there's never a good balance. Nobody's ever like, good for you for doing so well. It's never like that ever. It's always like, we're gonna, but that's just kind of the way it's just like our culture is for some reason. Anyways, it just made me think about that, honestly. Like I thought about the exact opposite. I was like, why is this movie so like hateful towards people who have like money? But at the same time, these people suck. I'm not saying that. I'm just like the movie chose to portray this message is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it was saying rich people are bad and poor people should get money, but it's like that's not really a social stance. I mean, like if you're gonna say something about that, but sorry, that's my one real negative about this movie is that like the weird social message they were trying to get across didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
Like
didn't pass the vibe check.
Right.
It was like bothering me the way they were treating Alice, like throwing her in that scalding hot tub of water.
That's the first time in a long time that I've seen Tasha look away from a movie, because she's way less like jumpy at that stuff than me. Like she could watch the Saw brain surgery scene and be just fine, but apparently like parental abuse is really what makes her look away. She just feels bad for the girl.
Yeah. And yeah, I think I felt really bad for the people under the stairs and Alice and Roach and like all of the people in there, but the jumping to the end, the one thing that I just didn't make sense is like Fool frees all the people under the stairs and then it just ends with them just walking off into the night. It's like they need to be like transitioned back into society. They will not survive. It's like they've lived under the stairs in the dark for their entire lives, and you're just gonna say go live on the streets of LA or wherever this is, and just good luck.
Yeah, I just don't think the movie was interested in going in
right.
that.
One thing I had an issue with as well is at the very end where they had like the whole town there and they knew that those parents were trying to kill Fool and Alice, but they just stand there. They didn't even try to break in the house.
Yeah, they could have overpowered everything and like
they just stood there.
But then they were all there to collect that money when it started flying from the sky.
Exactly.
Yeah, they didn't do nothing but collect cash. That's all that mob did. Yeah. And also, I don't understand how Roach lived in the walls for that long if he could just shoot and go into the wall himself with his gun. Like, he just broke... Like, he has no problem with ruining his house and, like, shooting things and stuff. So it's like, why doesn't he just enter those, like, the walls? Because he can't fit through all the openings. I get that. But why doesn't he just make a bigger opening with his buckshot or whatever?
Yeah, or he sent the dog in. The dog could definitely find Roach. Like, no problem.
Yeah, he never did that before, because it's like, I don't know.
And it's just...
That's where Roach lives, so it's like the dog could just go in there in the middle of the night while he's sleeping and eat him.
And it didn't, I'm saying all my negatives now, but to say one positive, I thought the first, like, 2 acts of basically when Fool gets to the house to when he escapes the first time, like, that was great. I was really into it. I was having a lot of fun. There was some good comedy between Fool and the dad, and, like, it was good suspense. But then, like, when he escaped and I saw there was still, like, 30 minutes left, I was like, well, that's it, right? We're done. I just thought the third act when he goes back was weird. Like, I don't...
Yeah, this suffers from the rare exports syndrome.
Yes.
I thought it was like, I thought when he escaped and got back to his house, it was like, okay, it's over. And then he goes back, it's like, I gotta go get Alice. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah, and it was just like, he basically went home to just like have some Pop-Tarts and a snack or something, and then he calls the police, and then in that time somehow the family has fixed all the bullet holes in the wall, cleaned up everything, and the cops don't notice anything. It's like
the cops, they're eating the cookies that they're giving them and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, oh, can I have another
complimenting
cookie?
The furniture. Yeah. Nice furniture. Yeah. See, the cops know. They're like...
Yeah,
they don't give a shit. They're like, I just want some cookies, and I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
they went home to their wife, like, today I got cookies.
Well, they didn't do anything when they saw that that van made the robbery.
Yeah.
They're
just
like, okay, bye.
All right, I guess this is your van now. You better move it.
Wait a minute, that guy's missing. This guy's wife said he never came home. Well, I don't know what to tell you. His van's here. He tried to rob the place.
Yeah.
I don't know where he went though.
But I thought the look of the people under the stairs was pretty good. It was like pretty creepy, like when you first see them and then you realize that they're not really evil, they're just misunderstood and mistreated or whatever. And I thought Roach was a good character. I liked the idea of him, but it's just they didn't really do anything with him. He just kind of said, "Here's my home in the walls. I'm gonna die now." The end.
Yeah. And, like, it's weird that he's so injured that he's about to die, but then he has so much ability to move and do things, and then he spells, like,
Alice
and
Alice
then
on the
dies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, excuse me.
It was very
There's
sudden.
going to be a long time, There's going to be a long time between, like, being able to move that fluidly and death. Unless it was so painful and he was literally on the brink of death. But you didn't see that from his body language, if so.
He didn't look like he was even in pain at all.
Yeah, because she didn't even know he was injured until after they literally climbed into that thing. He was...
Yeah, I think we knew he had been shot, and then we thought he was dead, and then he just comes out and saves the day, and we're like, oh, okay, so he wasn't really shot, we're good to go, and he's just like, nope, I'm dead. Bye.
I was shot, now I'm dead. He's like Trindamere. Man literally too angry to die.
But
that's all the thoughts I had.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, like, little nitpicks. It's kind of like Us in that if you really think about the plot and think about details about the movie, you're going to find a lot of holes. I'm not saying it's as good as Us or anything, but I mean, it's that same idea where I think the idea of the story and the concept is really good, and I think they delivered on basically, like, these crazy rich people in this haunted house that you can't escape from. How are they going to get out? Like, that was really cool. I just think there was a lot of weird, like, missteps and weird, like just a lot of weird choices that didn't really do anything or go anywhere, and just felt kind of like a 13-year-old writing a screenplay in some cases.
Okay, so this sounds like your rating.
Yeah, so I guess we can go into ratings if...
Yeah, because I've already filled
Yeah, I have no notes remaining. I don't think so.
So I'll just,
Yep.
I mean, I've basically given my review, so I'll say I think I'm going to give this also a 6 out of 10. I think it's a slightly above average movie, just basically the build up of it's a 6 out of 10 based solely on the idea and basically everything that went on in the house before he escapes the first time. Like, that was great. If that was the whole movie, this would be like a 7 or 8 probably. But it's just, there was, he didn't know, Wes Craven did not know how to stick the landing of this movie, I think. And,
Yeah.
but it was better than I was expecting. This was another shot in the dark where I had no clue whether it was going to be watchable or not. And I'm glad that it was
Okay.
at least decent.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it.
You could go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 4 out of 10. I thought that it was just slightly worse than average. Honestly, for me, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, this is literally the average movie. I'm gonna give this a 5. I'm convinced I'm gonna give it a 5 most of the time because sometimes the jokes landed for me, sometimes they didn't because it tried to be campy sometimes and scary sometimes. It starts out like it's gonna be a children's sort of horror movie, like a Goosebumps style, and then it gets really real for a while, and I'm like, whoa. Maybe this has got, and then it pulls it back and goes in the other direction. For me, it didn't. It wasn't always scary when it wanted to be. It wasn't always funny when it wanted to be. And I still would have given it a 5 if it wasn't for the third act, which I didn't like. So that's what causes me to deduct a point and say a 4. That's just for me. That's the way I've thought through the movie as we were watching it, and yeah, I mean that's basically all I have to say. I do think that he's resolved his problem because he brings the coin back after the first time. She's like, okay, this is good for rent for like a year and 2 months or something, and I'm like, okay, so they're good for a while.
Yeah.
And his mom and all that, and then he comes back, and I guess it was trying to play on the whole fool concept. I get that. I just didn't land for me. 4 out of 10.
I'm also going to give it a 4.
Sorry, Jake.
No, you're fine.
All
I
you do
mean,
is poop
honestly,
on your movie.
I thought Mike enjoyed it a little bit more than I did. Wes Craven be my favorite director. I'm kind of a little bit more harder because of what I've seen. I just don't think this was his best movie that he's ever did, in my opinion. Third act should have definitely been cut. So
Okay. Jake, curious real quick before we move on. You gave both of these 6. Which one would you have to say you like better between this one and Cry Wolf?
Probably Cry Wolf because it
Nice.
for that movie it was literally the last 90 seconds that I was kind of like, oh, they could have cut that. So whereas this one it's like 30 minutes. I was like, those didn't need to be there.
Okay, fair. I was just curious.
all right, ready to move on to the last one?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so the last one I also recommended, it's John Carpenter's Christine, which the novel was written by Stephen King. So basically, at the very beginning, you see these old Cadillacs in them on a conveyor belt in a mechanic's shop, and this one guy looked under the hood and put his hand in, like in the in where the engine is, and the hood fell on his hand and basically broke his hand. And then this one guy, a black guy, steps in his car, listens to the radio. It's like whatever, sprinkles ashes on the seat. Christine gets pissed off. Basically, he chokes to death on exhaust. So further, probably about 20 years afterwards, Arnie Cunningham and his friend Dennis are driving by after school, and he sees Christine in this for sale in this guy's garage, on his yard. He demands Dennis to go back so he can look at it, and he's just like so obsessed with his car. He's like, how much? The guy is like $250. He's like, sold. So he buys it, takes it home. His parents has a shit hits the fan. They hate it. They's like, you're not keeping this car here. He's like, okay, fine, whatever. So he drives it to a garage, Darnell's garage, where he fixes this up. But that's not all of his problems. He has bullies after him at school, Buddy Rempton and stuff. They jump him and pull a switchblade out on him, and he gets expelled. So he's like, okay, we'll get you. And basically, they find where he's fixing his car, destroys his car, and Christine takes revenge, kills them, and Christine's a very jealous car, so basically his girlfriend Lee almost chokes to death, and they try to, which also Arnie is changing like he's possessed, and so the more he has car, the more Arnie acts different, and basically they stop him in Will Darnell's garage. Arnie dies, they destroy the car, and that's that.
Yes.
For the most part. For the most part.
Yes.
So I've
Very comprehensive.
I've been reading the book and comparing the book and the movie. So when Arnie bought the car, it was from his brother George Lee Bayman, but in the in the book, his brother that was dead actually sold Arnie the car, and the brother didn't die till after he sold Arnie the car.
Okay. That seems like it would make more sense.
Yeah, because basically, his brother was like obsessed with the car too, and he died shortly after selling him the car. So, did y'all hear the mention of fellatio in there? From like Black Christmas?
Didn't Arnie say it to his mom or something?
I think he said it to Dennis. I was talking about fellatio.
I remembered somebody said it, but it didn't connect to Black Christmas for me. But that's...
Remember when in Black Christmas when she told the detective fellatio?
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay, I got it now. It took me a minute, sorry.
So I have some nitpicks for this movie.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Get them out of the way.
So I say this for every 80s movie that I watch, but why do all of the teenagers look like they're 30 plus every time? So that's number one. It's like the dude that has like the striped shirt on that's just sitting in the gym like he's like 60. Like these people are supposed to be the same age as the guy from the new Spider-Man movie. Like what's his name?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. These guys are supposed to be the same age as Tom Holland. Like, come on.
But you also got to realize in the 80s, they wore their clothes differently, they wore their hair differently, they presented themselves differently.
Look up the actors. They're all like 30. I don't know why this was a thing in the 80s.
Well, quit nitpicking it because it gets old every time.
Yeah, Mike.
Here we go. Domestic violence. Yeah, between that, Stephen King bullies are pretty over the top. I don't know if he was just like stabbed 100 times when he was a kid by a bully, but his bullies are pretty big bullies.
Yeah, I think the bully character, he looked and sounded and acted a lot like the John Travolta character from Carrie. Like, I was like, this is the same character, right? The exact same character.
Yes, the Stephen King multiverse.
Which those movies were, I think, a couple years apart. So yeah, I could see that because like Carrie came out first.
Yeah.
Before Christine. So.
They were like modeling it afterwards. We're like, well, Carrie worked. Let's do this.
Yeah, but Stephen King didn't do the movie.
Okay.
John Carpenter did the movie. Which, the music for Christine did sound a whole lot like Halloween's theme song.
Yeah, and like the Halloween 3 specifically, like they had that musical sting whenever Christine's lights came on when she was about to kill somebody. That, I swear that was an exact sound effect from Halloween 3. Like the exact sound effect.
Well, even when she was chasing Moochie, the fat guy, the
oh yeah,
the music sounded just like the theme song, just a little bit different.
Yeah. Moochie doesn't know how to run left and right, apparently. So.
But I mean, so I would think it's safe to say that John Carpenter did the score for this movie. I didn't look it up, but I assume so.
Yeah. What else you got, Mike?
Who chokes to death on a hamburger was one. from the drive-in scene.
I mean, you can choke to death on a hamburger.
Yeah, but they're all mushy. Like you got mushy bread
You
and
can
mushy
choke
meat.
on anything, I guess.
Yeah, Michael. I mean,
All right. All
But
right.
probably my biggest laugh out of all of the movies was after the drive-in scene when like the girlfriend kind of breaks up with Arnie, and then he gets back in the car and Christine won't start, and he's like, "Come on, baby, you know you're the one." And then she starts, and then
Yeah.
"I love you" it starts playing on the radio.
Yeah.
Like that was the funniest thing of the whole month for me.
Yeah.
maybe they're both sexually frustrated. That's what he told Lee. What else you got?
You keep going back to me.
Because I've already done my notes.
Okay.
You said you had nitpicks,
Like-
so I'm listening.
This is a positive. I got a positive.
Okay, well, give me some positives.
Okay, the car repairing itself looked really realistic to me. I was like blown away by that. I don't know what they did. It's probably extremely simple, whatever they did, but it looked really good.
Yeah,
whatever
that was a really
it
good effect.
Yeah, which is the best. I personally believe that that's the best scene in the movie. Like, I love that scene.
Yeah. And I think the one thing I was thinking throughout the whole movie, I was like thinking about the sequence of how they filmed it. I was like, how many cars did they have for this? Because like the car's destroyed in this scene, but then it's fixed in this scene,
Yeah.
but then it's destroyed in a different way.
Exactly.
And I watched a video. There were 24 different cars that they used.
Oh, wow. I did not
That's a
know
lot.
that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah. It's like, that's a lot, in case you don't know how to count.
That's more than 2.
Which I think that's a beautiful car. I want that car.
Well, there's none left because of this movie.
The only other thing I have is I thought it was a subtle thing, but like Arnie's transformation, I thought the actor did a good job because in the first few scenes he was kind of this. I thought he was a realistic nerd where he was kind of timid and like dorky, but he wasn't like an over the top like, hey guys, wait up, hold on now. He wasn't like one of
Even all nasally.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
thought he was a more realistic portrayal of kind of like like a really shy, nerdy kid. And then I thought his transformation throughout the movie was good because when I kind of knew the idea that he was going to turn bad, but when I first saw him, I was like, there's no way this guy's going to be believable as like a tough guy. But by the end, I was like, actually he was like when he kind of became the greaser. So that's more on like the actor and just like the character, like the slow transformation. I thought was really cool, and just the subtle idea that Christine's like transforming him into like a 50s greaser, just like in how he looks and also how he talks, because he says stuff like "keep your mitts off me" and like weird like anachronistic sayings that nobody would say in the 80s. Like I thought that was a cool touch. That was my favorite part about the movie.
Yeah. You have anything else?
No, I've exhausted my notes and my nitpicks.
Okay.
I was going to complain more about how the guy ran on the road instead of off the road, but I've already kind of talked about that.
Okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and go into ratings. Again, this is not my favorite Stephen King or John Carpenter's for that matter, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think I enjoyed it more when I was younger, and then also reading the book and comparing. There's a lot of differences, and I just, I think I've outgrown this one a little bit, so 6.
Jake?
I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Just like
Okay.
Mike said earlier, like to me this is the definition of an average movie. Like
Yeah.
going into it, the plot. This is one of the Stephen King movies I've never watched or read because the plot doesn't really seem interesting to me. Like a killer car doesn't really do much for me. But I thought the way that they did the kills with the car were good. They were effective. It's and like I said, the whole journey of Arnie I enjoyed. But overall, just nothing about this movie really hooked me in and made me like care about the characters really or wanna really watch it again or anything. So it's like it's an perfectly average movie.
What about you?
All right. So with this one, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
I knew you was going to say that.
I loved Tasha's other recommendation, so sorry, babe. But the reason why I feel this way is because I think it's a well-executed movie. It's competently made. The effects are good. It's well shot. But for me, it's the fundamental premise of the movie. I just can't
Yeah.
get into. It's like, what if I just wrote a book or a story or a screenplay about a killer car? And I don't know. For me, it just doesn't work. I honestly like the episode of Regular Show that parodies this movie called Hello Gavna better than this movie. So I mean, thinking about that. Like, I'd rather be watching that episode the whole time. Kind of brought it back for me, and I'm just like, instead of watching this, I just want to watch Hello Gavna or whatever.
Well, just remember, your next month's might not hit
Yeah,
too well.
I was just gonna give my next month a 1 out of 10.
Oh
So
yeah.
like the lighthouse, more like the crap house.
Has anybody seen anything this past month?
Well, I did go see it.
In quarantine.
I did go see Invisible Man before the world ended, and I really enjoyed it. It was, I think we were talking about it outside of this. It's probably like
Yeah.
one of my favorite Blumhouse movies that I've seen.
Ooh.
Which we was get ready to go see it when the world ended.
Yeah. We were gonna go see it, and then quarantine.
I haven't seen The Hunt yet. I do want to get it on because they have it on the Xfinity on demand. I do want to get that and check it out because it seems. I don't think it.
Uh-huh.
It's the one about like basically these liberals round up all these conservatives and like hunt them for sport. Basically, it's like a weird political movie. Have you not seen the previews for it?
I haven't.
Oh wait, I think I have. Yeah, that looks bad.
It looks like it'll be okay. Like I don't think it'll be as good as Invisible Man, but I think it'll be decent. So,
I don't think I've seen anything new. Nope. You?
Horror wise, not really. I've been watching a lot of anime this month, aside from our 4 movies. Yeah, I watched a couple short films, but nothing of note, in my opinion. Nothing worth
Alright.
mentioning.
I did finish reading Salem's Lot from Stephen King.
Any good?
I
Oh.
loved it. Like, it's probably either my favorite or second favorite Stephen King book. It was really good.
If you need a new one, and especially since it's quarantine related, you should check out The Stand.
I have the book. I've just never read it. I took it out of the bookcase today. I was like, I'm gonna do this one next.
It is so good. It is so good.
It's a question. Have you ever read a graphic novel before?
I read it's not really a graphic novel, but The End of the Fucking World. That it's kind of like it's a short like graphic novella.
Okay.
Sort of.
So you should check out the Scott Pilgrim graphic novel.
Okay.
I made Tasha read it, even though she hates the movie, which is my favorite movie, but she hates it, and she even liked it. It's
Yeah,
so
it's good.
good. It is so incredibly good. I cannot recommend it enough. If we had a book club, I'd be recommending that month 1.
So
have a
let's
movie
get
club.
into recommendations.
Recommendations. Since I have the double feature this month.
Well, you do not have the double feature this month. We already unanimously agreed.
All right. So no double feature for me, but I already know what my second one is. So I'm just going to say 2 since there's not a fourth voice. So recommendation 1 is The Lighthouse, which Tasha's probably going to call the crap house. I don't think she's going to like it, but I want to make her watch it. And The Invisible Man. So Jake has seen it, but me and Tasha have not.
I'm pumped to watch
Because we wanted to see it for a 5-year wedding anniversary, and we were thwarted. So,
Yes.
Jake?
Go ahead, Jake. Reno.
My recommendation is gonna be Ready or Not. I watched that. That was the other thing I watched since last month. I loved that movie. So much fun. I hope you guys
Okay.
enjoy it.
And I am doing a Wes Craven. I'm going to do Scream.
Yay!
Mike has never
Yay.
seen it.
I know. It's one of the few classics I haven't seen.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's not
not
seen it.
because of purposeness. It's just that it's always been on the back of my list, but I've always wanted to watch it.
It's
So
so good.
now I have the perfect excuse.
Yeah, it's a good one. All right, that's
Yeah, but
sounds like a
go ahead and
decent-
plug your shirts then. Yeah.
Yeah, so as if you're a new listener, I make shirts. The website's called jakensteinapparel.com. I've been taking kind of a break from the design for a while. I just haven't had much inspiration for new shirts in a while, to be perfectly honest.
Quarantine shirts.
But so I still have a bunch of designs up, though. There's like slasher-based ones. If you like a certain haunted Stephen King hotel, I have some stuff based on that. If you're looking for something to wear for the apocalypse, might I recommend these nice subtle horror t-shirts that I have in multiple colors other than black, so you won't melt in the fiery pits of hell when the world does end.
Nice.
All right. Well, hey guys, if you made it to the end here, we really appreciate you, and toss the video a like, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys next month.
Bye.
Have a good quarantine. Bye.
Bye.